Good morning. I want to thank all of you for being here. This is the time of year that we get to reconnect with old and new friends, including new member board members, member board executives, and my fellow collateral leaders. As I reflect on this past year, I think about the many engagements I've had with you, whether it was at NCARB meetings, during service as a member board on a committee or a volunteer, or in a conference hallway, at a restaurant, on the phone, or riding on an event bus. Engagement is so very important to us as a community and as an organization. So this is where I want to start today. Let us reflect on where we left off a year ago when I first stood before you as NCARB president. We were debating 10 resolutions last year. We were working at multiple levels on programmatic improvements, and we were seeking ways to assure that no matter which perspective our member boards have, NCARB wants to listen, to grow, to improve in the arena of building community. This means that it's important for you to know that changes under consideration are not decided in a vacuum or without considerable study over multiple years. This is especially critical for those of you who are new to participating in NCARB activities. We believe that deliberation, consensus, and debate best position us for effective implementation. So out of that experience, I committed to redoubling efforts to engage with you in a way that ties us closer together. We worked on this through previewing our board discussions and empowering our regional directors as effective liaisons. Our efforts extended to emphasizing the member perspective in ways big and small. These efforts included facilitating strategic discussions at the Chairs Exec Summit in Columbus, Ohio, and supporting regionally led presentations at the Regional Summit in Jersey City. We continued the concept of a shared strategic charge for all committees. We convened our committee chairs for a new onboarding workshop to emphasize a common vision. We started up two new groups of volunteers, a model law task force to take a multi-year look at the purpose, format, and usefulness of the NCARB model law, a resiliency work group to explore how issues of resilience and sustainability could be manifested within our regulatory toolkit. I want to report to you that our committees, task forces, and work groups did a terrific job this year. This is not an empty compliment. It's a reflection of the quality of the leadership we have in our volunteer pool. They delivered on critical charges which will move us forward in an inclusive and deliberative fashion as we continue to improve our ability to support member boards and the public they are charged to protect. So here are some highlights. In its second full year, chaired by former NCARB President Dale McKinney, the Ethics Task Force has recommended changes to the rules of conduct. It also recommended several considerations for next year's committees relative to how ethics might have a stronger presence within our programs and policies. The Model Law Task Force, chaired by NCARB past President Dennis Ward, has focused upon model language used by the Federation of Associations of Regulatory Boards, or FARB, as an organizing concept to revisit our model law content and format. The Resiliency Work Group, chaired by former Delaware board member John Matejko, has issued an inspiring statement of purpose. It recommended actions for NCARB programs which are motivational, aspirational, and worthy of future focus by NCARB committees and staff. The Education Committee has recommended a redesign of the NCARB Award. This redesign would offer a single purse award to deserving academic or other programs, including research, and would also underwrite new outreach efforts to the professional practice instructor community. The Continuing Education Subcommittee has added more online monographs to the portfolio of free HSW Continuing Ed for certificate holders, and once again, co-reviewed HSW courses offered at the AIA Conference on Architecture, known as FY17. The new group composing the Certification Alternative Review Team, or CART, it conducted its first training as it ready to review applicants for certification who are licensed but have no architecture-related education. This virtual successor to the BEA committee will assure that with the changes approved by last year's resolution, Rigor will be applied to the submittal of experience as an alternative for education deficiencies. The Examination Committee and the ARE subcommittees laid the foundation for the new ARE 5.0 cut scores, established a schedule for supporting the simultaneous offering of ARE 4.0 and 5.0, and maintained a focus on the future state of examination. The Experience Committee responded to the interest in developing a stronger regimen for AXP supervisors by exploring options for focused training and guidance. Meanwhile, NCARB staff contributed greatly to my efforts and the focus of our programs, including supporting think tank activities to review the role of supervisors from the licensure candidate perspective, organizing a new test prep preferred provider program, conducting research to support the board's Blue Sky discussions, developing outreach materials for my presentations at collateral and other meetings, and moving the ball forward by implementing changes that you and the board approved through your votes. Let us reflect for a moment on how our ability to effectively engage has yielded great results in the past 12 months. Last June, 1 week after the annual business meeting, we launched the Architectural Experience Program known as AXP. We overhauled the program into 6 categories representing phases of practices identified by our practice analysis, anticipating the use of these same categories later in the year for the new ARE 5.0. AXP also introduced the alternative to completing the experience requirement known as AXP Portfolio. This alternative involves the mapping of an uploaded electronic portfolio of work older than 5 years to the AXP, as validated by a supervisor or peer. In November, we launched ARE 5.0. By April, we had worked as a board in concert with the ARE Cut Score Task Force and Examination Committee to systematically establish cut scores for all 6 new divisions. In January, we activated our mutual recognition arrangement with Australia and New Zealand. This follows last year's affirmative vote and the obtaining of the necessary minimum 28-member board approvals by the December 31st deadline. In February, we launched the first piece of the successor to the BEA program, known as 2 times AXP, for those licensees who have an architecture-related degree. This change was overwhelmingly approved by the membership last year and eliminates the subjective committee review and its $5,000 fee. In May, we launched the second piece of the successor to the BEA program, known as the portfolio option, for those licensees with unrelated or no education. Our new CART virtual review of an electronic portfolio will map work to the areas of education deficiency while also eliminating the $5,000 committee review fee. The third year of the Integrated Path to Architectural Licensure, known as IPAL, saw the addition of more participants to a new total of 17 schools and 21 programs, with a number of participants prepared to launch their first cohort. As you will hear on Saturday here in Boston, we have completed the review of several additional program applications and will be announcing their acceptance. More of you are now sharing data with NCARB. With this information, we can continue to strengthen our ability to populate the National Disciplinary Database, assess trends and metrics which can lead to future strategic choices, and act on your behalf as national thought leaders with media, government, and other groups assessing architectural practice and the value of licensure. This past year, I had the great honor and opportunity to represent you to external groups and to interested parties beyond North America. Last summer, I was a part of a panel of collateral leaders addressing the challenges of international practice at an ACSA conference in Santiago, Chile. I also joined my collateral leaders on panels at our Licensing Advisors Summit in Chicago, at the AIAS Forum in Boston, and the ACSA annual meeting in Detroit. Some of the most rewarding experiences of the year came from talking with and about the next generation of architects. Whether it was talking with architecture students at Ohio State, visiting my alma mater, Rice University, to explore how schools prepare students for licensure, or having dinner conversations with our think tank, I really came away inspired and challenged by all of that. As the first woman to serve as NCARB president in 20 years, I also had many requests to engage with female licensure candidates and comment on the ongoing issues related to diversity and equity in our profession. Our NCARB by the numbers data has helped the greater community focus on areas needing a stronger voice for equity and role models. I've been inspired by the new conversation around equity as a successor to diversity initiated in San Francisco by Rosa Shang and elevated by a commission organized by the AIA. Rosa will be featured at our Summertime Licensing Advisors Summit, and I hope many of you will be there to hear her refreshing and inclusive approach to how we all must and can own a more inclusive future for our profession. We have tried to move beyond old conversations and unreachable solutions regarding academic accreditation. It is critical that we come into a new realization of the necessity for modernizing accreditation, like we have done with NCARB programs and services, as we nurture and utilize this essential element in the path to licensure. But still, it comes back to engagement. It has been such an unforgettable privilege to work with my board of directors and as we seek consensus on shared visions and goals. Through lots of honest discussion and open-minded attitudes, improved relationships with our collateral leaders here in this room today have allowed us as a group to step up from a parochial approach to seeking win-win solutions. The frank feedback from many of you member board members and member board executives has continued to sharpen our approach and keep us accountable. And the no task too small attitude of our staff and the wonderful office culture they celebrate has made it a joy to visit the DC office and a relief to know that you've had my back. So as I reflect on all we have done, I must leave with a reflection on what is still to come. And I want to challenge each of you to lift your focus toward what is good for us as a community. We all, as dedicated volunteers, must stay off the sidelines. John F. Kennedy told us that time and the world do not stand still. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future. So I want to tell you, member board members, think about how protecting the public differs from protecting practice. Look for ways to keep your jurisdiction best positioned to deliver value, justify a reasonable approach to regulation, and educate your elected leaders on why your service matters. For you member board executives, take a new MBE under your wing, and as we see a huge infusion of new employees, consolidation of services, budget tensions, and aging state support systems that challenge you, don't be reluctant to suggest new ways for NCARB to help you. For you public members, your participation underscores our main focus on protecting the public and assures that we prioritize the right things and keeps us away from concerns of industry bias. Please help us bring your peers into the conversation. And for you collateral leaders, know that while NCARB supports a regulatory mission based on public protection, we also believe in our strategic goals of facilitating licensure and fostering collaboration. Our actions in recent years speak to who we are today, and we need your help in moving the conversation beyond outdated grievances and unproductive suspicions. For you as NCARB staff, continue to celebrate a partnership with our volunteers, continue to provide us with data, best practice information, focus group and survey responses, and the superior tools that have made NCARB the envy of many other regulatory federations. I look forward to remaining part of the conversation as we explore the future of architect regulation, as we focus on tools for the practitioner to effectively supervise AXP candidates, as we add value and benefit to certification, and as we stay committed to a deeper engagement with all of you. Thank you again to my Alabama board for launching me on this path, to Region 3 and moving me forward, and to all of you for your support, and to Tommy and my family for listening and loving. And as I always like to end our planning meetings in the office, go forth and prosper.